Hi, this is Amy M. Burns from amymburns.com and author of the publication Using Technology with Elementary Music Approaches, published by Oxford University Press and available from Oxford and Amazon today. In this episode, I'm going to share with you how to use the new recording feature in Seesaw to create a virtual Boomwhacker that's embedded into the Seesaw activity. This way, your students don't need to try and split the screen or open a new tab or open a new app, depending on the device. They'll be able to use the instrument right there within the activity because it will be embedded into the activity. Feel free just to take the activity and edit it yourself. However, stick around if you want to learn how to do this and create your own activity. Please remember to click like and to subscribe to this YouTube channel so that you get these weekly episodes to learn new little tech tips for elementary music education. Let's get started. My goal for creating this activity was that the students could stay within Seesaw and play a virtual instrument, meaning they wouldn't have to split the screen, or it wouldn't open a new tab, or it wouldn't open a new app, depending on the device. And this actually works because Seesaw upgraded their audio tools, which I'm very thankful for. So you can take this file and you can skip this video and just re-edit it to the way to your liking, to your students' to feel success, or follow me throughout this video and I'll show you how to create this. So let's get started. Here are the Boomwhackers. Let's start with the Boomwhackers. So I love using Canva. If you follow me on YouTube, you know I love using Canva, and Canva has a free educator's account. So if you go below this video, you can find it and click it, and it will, that link, and it will lead you to a place to create a free educator's account. Now, to create the Boomwhackers, I have to be honest, I did this last fall, and I would change a few things now with this file. First of all, I wouldn't start in presentation mode. Though I can download in a transparent background, I can't get rid of this presentation background and how large the background is. So my issue is I wanted it to be a background that isn't quite so large. So I probably would have started this in poster background instead of presentation. And I'm sure some of you out there are going, oh, you can eliminate that background. And I apologize, you probably can. But the way I did it was I used preview instead. So when I downloaded this with a transparent background, I cropped it in preview. To make the tubes, I went over here in the elements and grabbed a tube and put it in. As you can tell, it's already with some preset colors. But to change those colors, like change the orange to gray, that's how I did that. You can resize this, use the text tool to add the C, and then highlight and group. You can group them by control-click and group. And of course, when you ungroup, it's right there. Or even, you can probably actually, the group might show up there even when you're just trying to group two items together. So I did this using the measurement tool. It helped me to resize these Boomwhackers pretty accurately. Perfect. Now to download this, I click the download button. PNG is a nice high quality file, and I hit the transparent background. Then it's going to download it as a zip file, and I'll open it up, and each page will show as a separate file. This is great. Again, I went into preview to crop out the rest of this. So to bring it into Seesaw's activity, I grabbed it. And again, it hadn't cropped it yet, but notice the transparent background. This is great. Unfortunately, today, as of today, you cannot crop within Seesaw, but I wonder if many of us ask it, then you could actually crop how you need to in Seesaw, but you can't crop right now in Seesaw. You have to take the picture as the way the picture is. Now, if there's a way to crop in Seesaw, please let me know. Please, please. Okay. So now I have the Boomwhackers. Now I need these audio files. So this is how I did the audio files. I went into Soundtrap. Now, Soundtrap, we have the EDU version at our school so that the students can create and collaborate together, even in a social distanced spacing that we are right now. But beyond that, whatever your teaching scenario is, I love that in the EDU version, they have these safe walls so they can collaborate with any other Soundtrap users in their school. So I love it because that means I can have students in other grades collaborate and ask them for 2 stars and a wish, and they can say, I love this, I wish this, and it's really great. And again, I credit Shauna Longo for the 2 stars and a wish idea. I heard her say it on one of Katie's Wardrobe's podcasts, and I loved it. Now, as you can see, what I'm doing right now is I'm using the magnifying tool so that you can see how short I made these sound files. So what I did was I launched Soundtrap. Now, Soundtrap can be used on laptops. It also can be used on Chromebooks. It is web-based, but it also has an iOS app. Now, the iOS app isn't as complete as using the web-based program, but at least it does have an iOS app, which is really nice if your students are on iOS devices. It's not as stable, and again, it's not as fulfilled as this web-based app is, but at least it does have one. So what I did was I took out a Boomwhacker, I used a microphone, and recorded them right into Soundtrap. The problem I ran into, and I didn't get any answer from Soundtrap when I asked on their Facebook page, so maybe they never saw it, it's all cool because I found a way around it, was I made these very short because I realized when we had eighth notes in the songs, I needed shorter sounding files. So I recorded them and then edited them to be very, very, very short. As you can see, you can't even find the first measure here. It's really, really short. Let me play one. Very, very quick. Like a tenth of a second was what I was trying to make. And that's what I did make. However, when I downloaded them, they downloaded as 2 seconds. I mean, even when I made it as quick as 1/10 of a second, they downloaded it as 2. And I couldn't get an answer why. So I worked around it. Let me give you a tip on Soundtrap. If you download within the studio, it's a WAV file. If you go back to the home page, my projects right here, this download will download it as an MP3. I wanted an MP3 file for Seesaw. The reason I wanted that is because when the students are clicking on the file, I want it to load as quick as possible. So yes, I did sacrifice sound to use an MP3 file. For this case, using it as an activity in Seesaw, I felt that was okay to do. When I'm playing a very, luxurious recording of music, I tend not to use MP3s within my classroom. But when I'm trying to use sound files within a program, I tend to use MP3s, whether it's Google Slides or if I'm using Seesaw or whichever program I'm using, Google Classroom, whatever. Flipgrid, I usually tend to use MP3s. So I had this problem. It was a 2-second file. Here's why it's a problem. The 2-second files you hear on this page sound really nice. But when you're trying to play 2 eighth notes, the file needs to be shorter. Because if I try to play 2 eighth notes here, it's a long time to load for repeated notes. So what did I do? I went into Audacity. I have Audacity on my Mac laptop. I just brought it in. And when I did that, these are already chopped up. So you'll see when I did that, I could now export it as an MP3. I did it. I chopped it up using this tool right here. And then I just exported it as an MP3, and that worked great. And I haven't used Audacity in a while. Last time I used Audacity, you could not export as an MP3, but this version you can, so it's really great. If you are on a Chromebook and you're like, I can't get Audacity, that's only because it's a downloadable program. It's free. Just go, if I say audacity.com, I'm not sure if it leads you to the right place, but I'm going to put the link below. But if you're going, I'm on a Chromebook and I can't get Audacity because that is a downloadable free program, then use 123apps.com. This has so many audio and video free, simple editing video and audio apps. So 123apps.com is amazing because it's kind of like a one-stop shop for when you need to do audio editing and video editing. So you don't have to remember. There's others. There's many wonderful, I think, online voice recorder is another one. There's so many good ones. I think Twisted Wave is another one, but I like 123apps.com because there's so many apps built into it. There's like a PDF converter in there. Like, I love that it has a one-stop shop. So I do love 123apps.com. I do recommend it a lot in the book if you read my book. All right, so now I have an MP3 file, and now I have, let me show you just from scratch. Now I have a blank page, and I put the Boomwhacker in here. How do I get the MP3 file? Well, if you know their new tools, you know how to do this. So you're going to hit the three dots, go to Voice, click Upload File, and grab your MP3 file. When you do, it plays, and that's a nice short one, right? So that's great. Now, going back to the front page so you can see this. Here's the thing with whatever device you're on in Seesaw. Currently, the audio file shows up to the left of the picture. Now, I follow Chris Steiner. I adore Chris Steiner's Seesaw videos on YouTube. Follow him. I haven't seen this, but I love to be corrected. If he knows a way to get around so that the audio icon would go splat right onto the middle of the picture, we would love that. And Chris, if you know how to do that, please let me know, or someone let me know, because I would love that. However, right now I've only seen it on all my devices, whether it's iOS, Chromebook, or on a laptop. It's showing up here to the left. The problem is when I put a full set of Boomwhackers, as you can see, the icon's sitting on top of B. So this is the way I get around it. Even though I present it this way, as you can tell, I use their new feature, which I love so much, and that is the lock and lock size. When you lock the size, now you notice it is locked, but you can move them. So I say in my instructions here, move them around if this is driving you nuts. That's why I didn't put them right next to each other, because once you play it, it blocks the other icon. That drives me nuts. So I would suggest to move them around like this to make it easier to play. Here's another little tweak. These are great little tips to know today. When you play a file and the file's not repeating, you can start this one and start this one. It doesn't need to finish. So these 2-second files are really sounding nice. However, if you need to do a repeated note like you do here with "here we," that's where that short file comes into play. Do you see why I shortened up those files? I had to shorten them up so you could play them rhythmically correct. Really awesome, right? I love that. So I shortened them up. That works. Any one of these songs, if you see them with repeated notes, they are shorter. Now you will notice C is short, D is short, E is long. If that drives you insane and you don't like that, edit this file. Grab the E from here, which is short, copy and paste it here. You know me, I like the longer sounding one with the reverb. Last little tweak. I try this out on iOS, and it works quite well on iOS. It truly does, but iOS always has a tweak, and I'll show you right now what it is. I don't want to save that in case I did anything. This example attached shows the iOS version. There's one thing you will need to do when you're in the iOS version. You will need to tell your students to play it slower. Because when you tap the iOS, the icon on the iOS, the first time you tap it, it's going to take a few seconds to load. Once it does, like once the file kind of does that first audio loading, then it seems to settle into loading quickly. Perfect. However, when you have repeated notes, it doesn't do it as fast as you just saw on my laptop. So on an iOS device, play the multimedia example here. You will see me use an iOS device, and you have to play the song slower. It will do the repeated notes. It just won't do it as fast as you just saw me do it. You must do it a little bit slower, and the students have to play it slowly. So look at this multimedia example because it really helps you out. The instructions are here as well as on the page. Make a copy and edit this to your liking if you don't want to use it exactly the way that it's being used. Finally, if you want the students to record themselves playing, you know that Seesaw doesn't allow two multimedia events to go on at the same time, meaning if they hit the microphone button and start recording and then hit the audio icon, it's not going to work. So how do you get around that? Use a screen recording tool. That means if, like for my students, 3rd grade and up would use Screencastify. That is on their Chromebooks. They know how to use it. They've used it before. So they would start Screencastify, and then it's recording their screen, and they would play. Now, since it's an activity for them to get that Screencastify file to you, tell them to add a page and then click this and upload that file. And tell them to find the Screencastify file and upload it. And that would work. That's how I would do it if you were on a laptop or a Chromebook. If you are on an iOS device and you want them to screen record, what you would do is pull down the control menu and click the record button and have them screen record right there. Then again, do the same thing, add a page, tell them to go here, hit the upload, and bring in the file. That's how I would have them do it. But you'll notice with the instructions here, I don't have them actually record themselves. My goal here was for them to be able to play a song on the screen with the instrument embedded so that they wouldn't have to split a screen and they wouldn't have to jump into another app or another tab or another program. So this does that. Feel free to edit it. Feel free to do whatever you like with it, but I hope it helps.
Thank you for joining me this week. Remember to like my channel and click subscribe. And join me next week as I'll jump into another elementary music technology, music education subject. Have a great week.